Hey, Jerry,
Yeah.
what do you do when you start thinking about crummy things? When you start thinking about things that may or may not happen, but really cause you to feel bad?
I look up positive verses in scripture.
You're so full of it. What do you really do with your downward spiral?
I focus on how much worse it can get.
Isn't that the truth? So we've got some better ideas for you.
Real life for real families. Hurts, habits, and hangups happen in every family.
Jerry and I are here with tools to help you trust God, clean house, and tell the truth to ramp up the joy in your family.
You have what it takes.
It's time to become sober on purpose for
His
purpose. So I've been thinking,
Uh-oh.
and not good thoughts. You've been gone for 3 weeks, and I've been really struggling with my own thoughts and how I've been planning my life. And I was doing some work on positive thinking. I've been going back to my Al-Anon readings. I've been going back to my slogans. What's your favorite slogan?
Keep it simple, stupid.
I think that's one of my favorite too. So how often does it come up on you that you need to think through things again?
Not very often, honestly. At least in my recollection, if I dig back through it, maybe I overthink some stuff. But for the most part, I just try and do one day at a time. And I think, the majority of the AA slogans are wrapped up in that.
And I was in the bathroom the other day, cleaning the bathroom, wandering around in there, kind of
Thank you.
looking at the mirror and all that kind of stuff. Thank you. What?
For cleaning the bathroom.
Oh, you're welcome. Cleaning the bathroom for 3 males and wandering around in there. And I was saying really mean things to myself. I was saying, how do you think this is going to work? Why do you think you're going to make this happen? You haven't made this happen before. It'll probably just fail. And I stopped and I looked in the mirror and I thought, you wouldn't say this thing to anybody else. In fact, you would cheer somebody on. What did I say to you with your trucking business?
You need to get home before I kill somebody. No, you did. You were very encouraging to me. You said, you always succeed at things you set your mind to, and I'm sure you're going to be fine, and don't overstress it. This is really early on, and a lot of positive things.
So I'm looking at this mean girl in the mirror while I'm cleaning the bathroom and thinking, why would you let yourself talk to yourself that way? You wouldn't say that to anybody else. You never would say that to somebody you really loved, like your children or your husband or a good friend. Well, and I certainly wouldn't say it to a stranger. So I'm looking at myself, the person that I spend the most time with, going, why would I keep talking to myself that way? And so in program, what do we call that kind of thinking?
Stinking thinking.
And that's where we talk to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to anybody else. So this week we're working on giving you tools on how to think positively. What's your favorite one?
Positive thinking. It gets better.
It gets better that's a great slogan. So slogans are one way to do it. And how do you use those?
I go to meetings and listen to people telling me that, tell me the slogans as I share and give out what's happening in my life that's challenging.
So I have another little secret is my father. So I saw this in action. My father put them up on the visor of his car. So every time he flipped that down for the sun, he could see those. He also stuck them to his mirror. And then another silly thing, you were just down at my folks' house. They put notes in each other's bathrooms. They put little love notes with positive messages on them, or they put them in the kitchen, or a surprise one in your book or in your Bible when you open it in the morning.
Cute.
What about the napkins? You remember when I did the napkins for you? I didn't do it very much.
No, remind me.
My mom used to do this for me. I put a little positive note in the I wrote it on a napkin and I put it in their lunch.
I remember notes, but I don't remember them on napkins.
Yeah, did that. So those are things you can do for other people. What about stuff for yourself when you get into rough thinking?
Well, I mean, it's easy enough to build a plan as far as pulling yourself out of the emotional and mental doldrums, but the challenge becomes in implementing it when times get tough.
How do you find to implement it?
Well, again, another slogan is to just do it. right? And that's not originally a Nike slogan. But I don't have the magic pill for making sure that you do what is healthy when times are challenging.
I don't think anybody has a magic pill. I think it's more practice. I think that's the Nike slogan.
That's a good
just
point.
Do it.
Yeah, and to be around people who help hold you accountable. We're going to be talking with somebody who's got a app as far as holding yourself accountable, using technology to help hold yourself accountable, and what a great way to practice going through your day. And
how easy is that? It's an app on your phone, 4th and a 10th step, and they're adding some more, so you can do it all on your phone. Okay, Jerry, I'm going to ask you a really, really trick question.
Uh-oh.
Is a positive mindset biblical?
Of course it is.
And why would you say that?
Well, I mean, it's clear that a positive mindset is biblical. To have anything less than a positive mindset is not to be in a state of faith.
So we're created in the image of God, and God thinks
that we're awesome.
He does think that we're awesome, but how does he think? If we're to imitate his character and Jesus's character, how do they think?
This is the trick question. What do you mean? What do they think? How do they think?
Well, do you think they think, oh, I can't do that. I can't create that. I can't make that happen. That's really a problem for me. I'm too dumb, stupid, or messed up to do that.
Of course not.
So what we get in the joy chapter, in the Philippians chapter, is finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Philippians 4:8.
It's awesome.
That's all you've got to say on that. He's over here drinking coffee. One of the things that I think about are the slogans from Al-Anon, and Jerry's tossed out a few, but let me give you those in order. And then we have a blog post on that as well. And you could go over there and look at those. Let go and let God, which means?
To me, it means that God needs to have control in order to let the good things come into your life. So let go of the reins, let go of the steering wheel, let Jesus take the wheel.
It gives me relief that I'm not big enough to control everything in the world, and I don't have to control everybody, and I can let go and let God. Easy does it.
It means easy does it is what it means.
But what does that actually mean for you?
Well, it means slow down and just pace yourself rather than try and get it all done right now. Find your pace and stay on it. It means you're not going to build Rome in a day is what it means. And
I'm like a bull in the china shop. And what do I do with my schedule? What do you get frustrated with me about?
You don't have any margins in between activities, and you're always stressed out between transitions.
And we've got a ton of things to do today, and I don't have a whole lot of margin. And that certainly upsets my mindset and makes me feel like I'm failing because I'm not creating margin and I have so much to do and I'm never getting it all done. It's the perpetual list. I think that's part of being a woman too, because men don't necessarily make a perpetual list, do they?
I don't know. I don't.
No, you're kind of in the moment. Live and let live.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, actually. That's a reference to a James Bond movie. I'm just kidding. To me, live and let live means that we need to stop focusing on all the problems and improvements that the world can possibly have and just live our own lives.
And that's also for me in that I'm not to control everybody else's life, that they have their own life. God has a plan for them. They are separate from me, and God knows better than I do. So live and let live. First things first. This is my favorite.
That means to do the first things first.
You are so
It's so obvious. I mean, it's so obvious.
Crazy.
Just read it slowly. I mean, step 1 is before step 9. I mean, first things first.
I know, but I want to do them all at once and get them done. I'm going to put them in there with no margin and make it happen. So first things first means it's what I did this morning on the other podcast, the Emotionally Sober podcast, which is a prayer podcast and gives you tips and things to do for the day, is I sat down with a blank piece of paper and I wrote out everything I have to do. And I just brain dumped it on there, which makes me feel better because then it's all written down and I don't have to keep running it around my brain like a squirrel in a cage. So then I can label what's first and what isn't. Because last night we were sitting at dinner, and what were you feeling as I was going over this really deep schedule we have?
I was feeling like stay focused, don't check out. Oh my gosh.
Do the
Another
noise.
Thing. Bang.
So when I overwhelm Jerry, he goes to this total, what would you call that? Static channel.
Yeah, it's like white noise.
It's like, "Brr," and he doesn't listen anymore. And that's what the white paper does for me, is it stops me from going into that noise. Or really mine is more like, do your noise with my noise. So can you imagine being a child sitting at the table with dad going and me going, they just shut down completely because they're both males. All right. So next one day at a time. Oh, this might be my true favorite though.
Really?
Yeah. So tell me what you tell me about one day at a time all the time.
You're gonna have to remind me what I tell you about one day at a time.
When I start planning like 6 months in the future and going, are you going to be sober now? Are you going to be doing this now? Are you going to have this all planned out?
What do
you
I
say?
tell you? I don't know. What do I say?
You know what you
No,
say.
I don't.
Okay, so he says, Tanya, God has only given us today. Let's
say
back
that?
it up. Yes.
I'm smart.
You are smart. You do say that. You don't remember it?
Well, I was thinking it, but
All right, we already did keep it simple. And you don't have to say stupid because we're really talking about talking nice to ourselves and saying positive things. And then think.
so one of my, I don't necessarily agree with think. I don't remember reading that in the big book. I know in my home group we had a saying that was on the wall that said think, 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 and it never agreed with me. Particularly as you early are on trying to implement these tools. One of the things I remember hearing from early recovery was it was our best thinking that got us where we are, right? So to try and rely on our best thinking to get us out of it is doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
I think about think as, I don't really think about think. I think as stop.
Oh,
So I agree with you. Think might not be the best word, but I think of it as stop of, okay, my squirrel in my cage is going round and round and round and round and round and round. That's stinking thinking for me. So when I hear the word think, I think more about stop and breathe. Really for me, it would be stop and breathe.
yeah. I heard something recently, which isn't necessarily recovery programming, but it was first thought, wrong. Second thought, wrong. And just as long as we are open to the possibility that our first instinct is not the right one and we're willing to go back and reevaluate and be self-critical, much better chance of making good choices.
I think for me, that's the white page dump of I almost have to get it out of my head and see it on a piece of paper, because you're right. Oftentimes the first instinct is one that says, go do that now, take care of that now, when that might not be the top priority when you look at it more, I don't know, in a quiet mind or more objectively. Thanks. I knew I was looking for something. That's why you're my better half, Mr. Handsome Man.
We both have a better half.
The other one that I really like is no justified resentments. And
Right.
that's not even in the book, but we want to share that with you. No justified resentments. And so I'm looking at Mean Girl in the mirror going, why are you throwing all these things at me? And then I just build up resentments against myself. You know, you can do that too. Have resentments against yourself, not just against other people of you didn't do that and you didn't get that together and you were late one more time and here's your margin problem one more time. If that worked, I think we would all be well really quickly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if building resentments and
Harboring them.
and having animosity toward others was the secret to
a
peace.
happy life, then we would all win. And Wayne Dyer has a really great statement on that. He says, if feeling bad or making somebody else feel bad ever resulted in something constructive, then he thinks all of us should do it all of the time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that's where we kind of land on that one. The other one we've got is listen and learn And I want to say listen to learn, because one of the things that happens with me is Jerry just wants me to listen to what's going on, and he wants to feel heard that things are happening. He doesn't want me to solve his problem. He doesn't want me to make it better. He just wants me to listen and learn what he is thinking, and sometimes what you're feeling.
Yeah. And maybe sometimes help.
But what do I do that really annoys you in that process?
Well, I think it's a very male tendency, but you're very common to, in my experience, to offer a solution. And I'm open to the possibility that it might be a good solution, but more often than not, it doesn't work with all of the other moving parts that are going on.
There's something that I do that's even more irritating.
Tell me.
I just did it a few minutes ago.
I don't know. Cut me off?
Yep. Yeah. And that's where we are suggesting that when you have these stinking thinking thoughts.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
I know. When you have these stinking thinking thoughts, that you do cut yourself off, because what can you not do?
We cannot do this next podcast or interview if we don't cut this off.
We can't think two things at the same time.
Right. That is very true. We can switch back and forth really quickly, which may make it seem like we're multitasking. But in essence, we are just switching back and forth and not giving our full attention to either thing.
So I want to leave you with one more verse. And this is kind of a long one, but I think it's important. My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. Above all else, ground your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth free of perversity. Keep corrupt talk from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths of your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn to the right or the left. Keep your foot from evil. Proverbs 4:20-27. And what I would say about that is your mind is the thing that carries you forward. If you can't think it or dream it, you can't do it. If you continue to think and dream in the negative, what's going to happen?
You're going to get negative.
And that brings everything into your relationship, even if you're not saying it out loud, even if you're just the mean girl in the mirror. So do you have a slogan you want to leave them with?
One day at a time.
One day at a time. And sometimes it's 1 second, 1 minute, 1 nanosecond at a time. Jerry, I am learning such good stuff with this coaching class. I think you even noticed it the other day.
I did?
Instead of saying why, which I think gets your goat, I said, could you tell me a little bit more about that?
I didn't notice, but now that you bring it up, yeah, that was beneficial.
Because we were talking about the truck and when you were leaving and that we would all be sad. And you said, well, I don't know. And I wanted to say, well, why don't you know? When are you going to get that together? Blah, 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 blah. So because of the coaching, I said, can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah, that's amazing. You're doing so good.
Well, I'm not doing good all the time, but I'm learning a lot. And I think it's helping our family relationship.
Awesome. I'm excited to see where this goes.
And especially living with 3 males, you need some new tools every time. So you can find us over at thejoyousfamily.com.
Or the Joyous Family Facebook page.
Aha. And what are you doing on the Instagram page? That's lots of fun.
I'm doing some lives. You got to watch because a lot of times I don't save them. So they're only up for 24 hours. But I've been doing some on the road lives about truck cooking and birds fighting and homeless people begging for money. No, I haven't done that one yet, but that's coming probably. And
then we also did our first family dinner in the truck.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
It was cool. So thejoyousfamily.com. I also have another podcast called The Emotionally Sober Mind, which is on early in the morning on our Facebook page. And please join us at the Sober on Purpose Facebook group, which we have restarted, and we're going to hop in there and do a little message in there right now. So we'd love to hear things that you are interested in. I would also love to do a discovery call with you about coaching. Please be sure and look at our website, thejoyousfamily.com, and check off the contact me box.
Cool.
I think it is in there. So we look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Bye.
Where is that binging coming from? I hate that
Can
binging.
you hear it on the podcast?
Yes.